I have been unfaithful. I can't live with you any longer. We need to separate, my wife Lily told me one day at dinner. It came out of nowhere, but it was typical for Lily to suddenly announce her decisions. Once Lily made up her mind, she never changed it. So even with big decisions that affected both of us, I didn't argue much. I never thought getting a divorce was okay. But at that time, I felt helpless. If Lily cheated or wanted a divorce, there was nothing I could do. This was because the company I worked for went bankrupt due to the economic crisis in the late 2000s. After losing my job, I desperately searched for a new one, not just for myself, but for us. For Lily's sake, I sent my resume to dozens of companies. However, I'd only managed to get interviews with 3 of them, and I didn't make it to the final stage with any of them. Despite having about 5 years of experience at a subsidiary of a major automotive manufacturer, it didn't seem to matter. I felt my spirit break. I remembered how lucky I felt when I got the job at my previous company. Receiving that job offer letter was the happiest moment of my life. My biggest challenge in job hunting was the interviews. I was already uncomfortable with public speaking, and many companies used group interviews, which made it even harder for me. The company where I was accepted had a group discussion as part of the selection process. At the table, there were students who took the lead in expressing their opinions, others who summarized everyone's ideas and presented new ones, and some who pointed out flaws in others' opinions. Everyone was desperate to impress the interviewers, just like me. But I was overwhelmed by the atmosphere and couldn't articulate even a tenth of what I had in mind. After the discussion ended, I felt deeply discouraged by my inability to contribute anything. I thought to myself, there's no way I would pass, not even by some stroke of luck. When I received the job offer letter, I was convinced it must be some kind of mistake. I checked the contents of the envelope, and Lily, who was beside me, rejoiced as if it were her own achievement. Believe in yourself. People who truly understand your worth will recognize it, Lily said, patting my back. Lily and I met in a university club since we both entered the Faculty of Law. Before the first lecture, Lily and a few others entered the classroom, and I was intrigued by Lily's lively presentation about the club. Shortly after we started our studies, a male friend and I peeked into the club room, and it was Lily who explained the club to us. The club, despite its formal-sounding name, the Legal Research Society, was a casual group where the main purpose was to foster connections through drinking parties and sports events. Lily played the role of a coordinator for new club members and efficiently carried out her responsibilities. As I tend to be more laid back by nature, there was something about Lily that initially attracted me to her. During the welcome party for new club members, the topic of our hometowns came up, and I discovered that Lily and I were from the same area, just about 2 train stops away from each other. That became the starting point for us to bond, and we often found ourselves excitedly discussing our shared hometown experiences. I believe another reason we could easily talk was because I had taken a gap year, so I was the same age as Lily. During the first summer vacation after I entered university, we decided to go home together since we had the opportunity. There wasn't any particular reason for me to decline, so I agreed. However, for some reason, Lily got off at the same station as me. I want to see the town where you were born and raised, even if just a little bit, she said, seeing my puzzled expression. Lily smiled and explained it with a cheerful tone. However, I felt slightly awkward being with Lily because my mother was supposed to be waiting at the station to pick me up. My mother was standing right in front of the ticket gate, looking slightly surprised yet happy. The reason became clear. Lily was standing beside me, and my mother clearly misunderstood, thinking Lily was my girlfriend. So I decided to clarify things right away. "This young lady is," I began, But before I could introduce Lily as my senior at university, she spoke up. I am in a relationship with Jack. I'm Lily. I froze at Lily's sudden words. She looked at me with a mischievous smile, giggling. My mother responded with a confused, "Well, okay then." Then she asked, "So, how about coming to our house now?" In response, Lily said, "I'm truly tempted by your kindness, but my parents are also waiting for me at home. I'll have to take a rain check for another opportunity." With those words, she passed through the ticket gate again and headed toward the platform. On the way back home, my mother bombarded me with questions about Lily. That night, I sent a message to Lily. "What do you mean by all of that?" I texted Lily. A few minutes later, I received a reply. "I just expressed my feelings honestly. The rest is up to you." I responded with a simple, "Got it." Immediately, she replied, "What do you mean if I got it?" It's either we're together or we're not. There are only two options for an answer. I typed back, "I want to be in a relationship with you," and sent the message. Her response came quickly. "All right then." From that moment, I felt our relationship dynamic was established. During my job search, I didn't have any particular company in mind. Even the choice of where to send my applications was made after discussing it with Lily. "Don't you have any initiative of your own?" Lily would often caution me. Each time, I'd respond with something like, "I have Mother Lily, the absolute deity, with me, so everything will be fine." At that time, I had little awareness of making decisions about my own life. I was always receiving advice from Lily. Despite her saying, "I'm truly discouraged with you," Lily always provided me with precise advice. I believe Lily probably knew more about me than I did myself. Years after graduating from university, I married Lily, and I thought our life together was going smoothly. So, when Lily suddenly confessed to cheating on me, I was deeply shocked. "Tomorrow morning, I will be leaving this house. As I am solely at fault, I will agree to whatever compensation you suggest. Please contact the lawyer I will appoint for further arrangements," she said, delivering her words without any emotional expression. Then she entered the bedroom. I couldn't say a word or take any action in response. Frustrated with my own helplessness, I couldn't sleep at all that night. Early the next morning, I heard the sound of Lily waking up and getting ready. I wanted to wake up immediately and speak to her right away. However, I didn't know what to say or how to approach the situation, so I remained still in bed. After I heard the sound of Lily closing the door and everything became quiet, I finally got out of bed. At the dining table, breakfast was prepared for me. Next to it, there was a divorce document, the wedding ring, and the house key. And note with the words, "I'm sorry. Thank you so much for everything up until now," was also left behind. I collapsed in despair and cried out loud, sobbing. Tears overflowed from my eyes in such abundance that I couldn't believe I had so many within me. Eventually, I realized I had fallen asleep on the dining room floor. With no motivation to do anything, I stared at the ceiling, feeling lost. As I remained in a daze for a while, the image that emerged in my mind was Lily's smiling face. What's the point now? I kept thinking, shaking my head, but Lily's smile wouldn't fade from my mind. It was then that I realized once again how much I truly loved Lily, and I thought to myself, I should be a man that Lily can be proud of. Some might think I'm being too sensitive or that there's no need to stand by a cheating partner. However, regardless of what others may think, I still firmly believed and trusted that Lily was my greatest ally and understanding partner. Afterward, I worked tirelessly and wholeheartedly. I took on tasks that I was not naturally inclined towards, such as sales as a contract employee, and gained experience in more manual labor-oriented jobs. Due to the unfamiliar physical labor, there were times when I couldn't move the next day due to exhaustion. One day, I received a call from my former boss at the previous company. I have an acquaintance who is recruiting staff for a children's care facility. If you're still looking for work, would you be interested in giving it a try? It seemed my former boss, who had been contacting me from time to time, had been keeping an eye on me since I hadn't found a job yet. At that time, I had changed from my previous passive self and had become more proactive in facing various challenges. Through various jobs, I had developed a stronger mindset of let's challenge anything and everything. Please count me in. I readily accepted my former boss's offer without hesitation. At the children's care facility, there were various types of children: cheerful ones, quiet ones, restless ones, quick-tempered ones, easily injured ones, and many more. Many of those children had experienced things I couldn't even imagine despite their young age. Reflecting on my life, I realized how naive and indulgent I had been. As I sincerely engaged with the children, who were honest with their feelings, I found my own heart healing in the process. I began to think that maybe this was the place where I truly wanted to work. With my doubts gone and a lighter heart, I interacted with the children in a more natural and genuine way. One day, while I was doing desk work, the facility director called me into his office. As soon as I entered, I froze in place. It was Lily's parents. Both had solemn expressions on their faces. "I'll leave you to talk amongst yourselves," the director said, leaving the room. A few days later, on my day off from work, I headed toward a beach park nearby. This park was full of memories, where Lily and I used to take walks after getting married. She was already at the bench overlooking the harbor where the yachts were moored. I recognized her from her back. "Long time no see." I greeted her. "It's been a while. How have you been?" she asked as she turned around. I sat down on the bench, leaving a little space between us. "You didn't, did you? Cheat on me?" I asked straightforwardly. There was no need to beat around the bush. Lily nodded silently. "I heard most of the story from your parents," I said. Lily's parents had told me why she had brought up the idea of divorce and how she had been living. Lily had felt it was her responsibility for not actively searching for a new job, even when I lost mine. She believed it would be the same cycle if she continued to search for a job with me as it had been before. Therefore, she thought divorce was the best way for both of us to make a fresh start on our own paths. However, she couldn't imagine that I would accept the idea of divorce if she just brought it up straightforwardly. Lily explained that she had faked an affair to manipulate me into accepting the divorce. She didn't show much emotion during the divorce discussion because she was afraid she would start crying if she became emotionally involved. After returning to her parents' home, Lily became so depressed that her parents grew concerned about her well-being. Lily's parents had thought about telling me the truth several times, but she had stopped them. Eventually, my parents told her parents about me working at the child welfare facility, and they visited to see me. When I heard about that, I thought, isn't that going a bit too far? However, Lily replied, "I thought you needed this kind of tough love to start fresh and carve out a new path for yourself from scratch." I asked, "Didn't you think I would remarry?" Lily replied, "At that time, it was what it was. I was prepared to accept that it was our fate." "You're such a determined person," I murmured. "But after hearing the story from your parents, I also realized that you have your own vulnerabilities. From now on, I want you to show me those weaknesses as well." Lily responded, "That's all up to you from now on." We shared a knowing smile. At that moment, I thought to myself, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I want to cherish the happiness I found, even if it took a detour, and treasure it for the rest of my life.